Billionaires are selling Nvidia stock and buying Palantir. No joke, I have facts to share with you in today's video, besides digging into the stock performance and future outlook based on your comments and request. So let's get right to it. Now, Palantir, it's one of those stocks that people were very skeptical of, thinking, hey, this one might be a hype stock, but today, this stock is actually on the verge of being included in the S&P 500 and has some key data that honestly shocked me a little bit when diving into the stock. In this video, of many more to come, I want to share first the stock performance and revenue growth that has quite honestly changed in Palantir. Number two, the details of the breaking news of Billionaires buying into Palantir. And number three, the future price review and expectations. Now on this channel, we talk ETFs, right? We talk individual stocks. And after my latest video on AMD, Palantir stock was a top requested stock for review. See, there are two different angles on Palantir that you need to know. The very first angle is that this was initially viewed as a hype stock in late 2020 when it hit the stock market. Even today, people are still a little skeptical of this stock because of its high valuation and PE ratio. The second angle is the recent performance that this company has achieved, evidenced by its documented data. It's going to leave a lot of investors in the dust in the future. So there's some key data points that I'm going to share with you in just a moment that turn this into something worth digging deeper into. In fact, in 2021, I thought this was a risky bet too, but I'm changing my tune on that thought. And while this isn't financial advice, I do recommend you do some major research if you're interested in this particular company. Let's dig into the stock performance and revenue growth of Palantir. Palantir, it's up 69% in the last year, and this time last year it was only $16 per share. If we look back to the 5-year chart, we can see periods where this stock was trading for $7 a share. You could easily say that if you bought back then, you're looking great today because you're up $20 per share for however many shares you bought. But see, back in 2022, Palantir, it's just starting off in terms of its financial performance. This means if you did go in and you bought Palantir during 2022, or when it was down below, anywhere below $10 per share, first, leave a comment down below. Let us know what your average price is per share, because I want to congratulate you on that, because obviously you're up on your money. But second, this means that you made a bet that this company had a strong future potential. See, in 2022, the revenue was not as strong, let's be honest, and the company was losing money as a result of leveraging to prepare for its growth. And this means that things could have gone, quite honestly, two different ways, either up or down to nothing. But luckily, of course, Palantir has performed well, struck a bunch of contracts, it's looking great. Palantir, it focuses, of course, on AI and technology development for government and military, but it recently focuses on commercial undertakings. And that alone, combined with government contracts, will continue to help it grow its revenue and so much more. So when it comes down to revenue performance, we can see a great win as we look at the chart. So let's hop over here to Seeking Alpha and take a look. Now again, right now, because we're looking at the future performance by looking at the past results of the company, I don't really care that it's $27 a share as of the recording of this video, blah, blah, blah. It's about the future. Let's go to the financials tab. We're going to start with the income statement. And I'm going to actually show you two things. First is annual and then quarterly. And remember, as an investor, it's critical to watch this stuff if you're buying an individual stock. That means when Palantir reports its earnings, you should be all up in this business saying, hey, is it meeting my expectations? Is it meeting the analysts' expectations? And based on their future growth potential, is there opportunity? And if you say no, 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 you got to determine what you're going to do with that particular stock in your portfolio. But let's take a look here. Now, this is what's exciting about it. First, we're seeing revenue growth year over year. Look at this, from 1.2 to 1.4 to 1.7 over the last couple of years. And most importantly is this right here. Now, this is what's making this stock very appealing to new fundamental investors. And that is the fact that they're turning a positive operating income. Look back over the last couple of years. We're seeing the brackets. We're seeing negative on all of these years that lead up to this. And now we're in the positive. That is a sign of positive growth. All of that bet that they put on, all of that innovation, all that leveraging of debt is starting to turn a profit. And that's what we want to see. Most importantly, though, we want to look at the quarterly reports. I'm going to change this over to quarterly. And this is where things get interesting, because even if you look from March of 2023, that is where they turn into positive operating income. From there, June, September, December, and most recently in March of 2024, this continues to paint a positive picture. It's not like a flatlined operating performance, it keeps going up. So combined with the fact that the revenue is doing okay, as we see the total revenues going up over quarter, the gross profit is going well, and their operating income is going well. And that's what I like to see. There's a lot of different things I look at when we dig into a stock. If you want to see more of that, if you want me to do a deeper dive on Palantir, drop me a comment down below so I know to come back with the deeper dive. But the other positive signal here on the cash flow statements right down here at the bottom where it says levered free cash flow. Look at that. That's what we want to see. 87, 97, 293, 82. This is all positive, and that's what we want to continue to focus on, and we want to see that continue to grow. But there's a lot of people that poo-poo on the PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, and I'll show you why. If you go to valuation here, Seeking Alpha does a great job. If you have their premium account showing you all of this data, here's what's going on here. So if we look at, we're going to look at their gap PE. So right there it is, 227 is Palantir compared to the sector median of 30. That is a significant overvalued stock in most cases. But I want to argue one thing. If we look at the 227, you even look at the non-gap at 97, and we hop over to something like Nvidia, look at the difference here. It's still high, not maybe as high as Palantir, but it's still high compared to the sector median in and of itself. See, the point is, I'm really looking for revenue growth. I'm looking for financial performance. Then at that point, are people seeing positivity out of that company and it's pushing the stock price higher? At that point, that's something to consider when you're analyzing a company and looking at the valuation. Sure, the valuation on Nvidia is an F, but also is Palantir at D-. So they're both low. But Nvidia is all over the news. Nvidia is where it's at. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's saying how they're getting rich off of it. Well, then why would we avoid it? Just because it has an F in valuation? See, these are just one piece of the pie that you need to consider when we look at the overall snapshot of a particular company. But with that in mind, let's go into what I talked about at the beginning of the video, and that is that billionaires are buying into Palantir, and yes, they're cutting back and selling on their Nvidia stock. So it's documented. Big-time hedge fund billionaires who are selling and trimming Nvidia, turning around and buying Palantir. Now, there's not a whole lot yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. So let's review two of them that I found today. First, we have Israel Englander of Millennium Management. He's selling 720,000 shares of Nvidia in the first quarter, which means that he reduced his stake by 35%. But he then increased his position in Palantir by 4%. Philip Lafont of Coatue Management, if I'm saying that right, well, he sold 2.9 million shares of Nvidia. That represents a 68% reduction in his stake, but increased his shares of Palantir by a whopping 40%. So keep in mind, these hedge funds and billionaires, they jump on trends before they become widely adopted, which, let's be honest, is part of why they became so rich in the first place. Now, we just need to see after this, maybe we'll see Warren Buffett and maybe Nancy Pelosi buying, and then we're going to be set on something like Palantir. But despite that potentially high valuation, we need to keep our eyes on the potential that Palantir has in being included in the S&P 500. There are certain requirements a company must meet in order to be included in the S&P 500 index, and Palantir has officially met that requirement, but not quite yet included in the index as of the last rebalancing in June of 2024. But keep in mind, it's a quarterly rebalancing. We still have opportunities both in September as well as December. And if Palantir can continue to grow, evident by the performance that we looked at earlier in quarter 2 and quarter 3, this could be a positive sign for inclusion in the index. And when Palantir does jump into the S&P 500, there's an opportunity this stock will gain more visibility, more opportunity for upward price momentum. That's something to consider. Now, in full transparency, I gotta say I did pick up a few hundred shares of Palantir, but keep in mind, my individual stock portfolio was only 5 to 10% of my overall portfolio. So most of my portfolio is heavily invested into index funds, such as the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, dividend funds, and things like that. My goal and responsibility of an individual stock is to keep my eye on Palantir quarterly to ensure it's meeting my expectations as an owner of that company. And that leads me to this question. Do you want future videos on Palantir specifically and a follow-up video right around August 5th when Palantir earnings are in? We're going to analyze those earnings. If you want to see that, comment below so I know to keep posting videos like this one. All right, here's what to do next. Check out this video next, and we'll see you on the next video.